Hello, welcome to my interview with Christopher, and he will be talking about his volunteer experience that he had. And so I guess my first question is, what did you do during your volunteer experience? Why, thanks for having me. I guess in the most simplest terms, or the best way to explain what I was doing there, it was the emergency food pantry. So essentially, our goal was to deliver food to different people, mostly of under the poverty level, or I would say all of them are under the poverty level, and just kind of trying to get food to make it through the month, kind of a thing. Just doing a service overall to help those kinds of people. For the most part, it was just they would sign on a sheet of what they needed, and then we would go through what we had and grab what they needed accordingly, and then we would bring them back and get different meats, other kind of frozen and dairy things. They would then go through the vegetable area that we had, and that was like my biggest human interaction. We also did stuff where I was organizing different sections. So there was cans I had to organize into the specific cans. So if it was like a soup or a chili, or if it was like canned vegetables or fruit, kind of a thing. And overall, that was kind of what I did while I was there. During your volunteer experience, are there any concerns you had while you were working with the organization? Any issues that you ran into? And what did you do to solve them in the process? I would say for a challenge, probably the biggest challenge I came across was when you're meeting so many different people, whether it was different volunteers or just different people that you're giving your food to. As they all kind of had a different cultural background, and it was difficult getting used to that very quickly since I wasn't talking to them very much. A good example of this was one of the people I was volunteering with the sorting was she was from the Middle East, I wanted to take a guess at. And so it just kind of was hard to understand her. Her English was good, but it was just very accented heavy, and so I just had to talk to her more to get used to it. I would say it's like one of the more challenges that I came across, and definitely just talking to more people got me more used to that kind of idea. Not necessarily expecting it, but understanding it better for sure. What was the culture of the organization that you were part of? Like, who was the staff? What were they like? What kind of people did you expect them to be in the first place? I would say the culture that was there was just super friendly overall, and that's something that I try to remember and make changes in my own self as well when I'm doing these things. Was everyone just kind of wanted to be there. They wanted to help. They knew that what they were doing was very helpful to people, and there was a lot of older people generally. That was the common occurrence to people. A lot of the volunteers were older. There were some volunteers that were spotted from different colleges that I got in contact with and talked to them, just other college kids like me. But overall, it was very old. They've either retired or close to retirement type of a feel, which I think was most exciting. I think that's something that I would strive for is, or maybe a change I would make, is that we're so busy in life, and then you kind of like when you come to an end, that idea that you still are able to do a service to the people, and you're giving back to that community that you may have once been in, and also just kind of like understanding that there's more beyond you as a person, and that's a big thing that I try to strive for, or if I didn't already, I would do more so. Understanding that there are future generations, and so this service that you're doing helps that in the process. What was the most challenging part of working with this organization? It's hard to say what the most challenging part is because it was all so much fun while I was there. But I would say like kind of a dumb thing for me, but just personally, the most challenging thing was I always went at about 9 in the morning till noon. So about 9:30 is when I would get there, and I had to walk every day because I didn't have a car. So I would say that was the most challenging part, was just kind of walking to the place to then volunteer and then having to walk back. That was always kind of a challenge because I'd have to pump myself up and be like, all right, not only am I volunteering, but I also got to walk 4 miles. So I think that's the most challenging part for me. Then my last question was, describe the most rewarding part of working with this organization. What did you enjoy the most when you were doing it? I'd say the most rewarding part might have to be just kind of like you understand what you're doing for other people. I've lived in poverty all my life, even now in college. Even though I have money, I still have to live very paycheck to paycheck. And so when you get that small bit of help, it goes a long way mentally. Just kind of like they want to help you, they feel like they're doing a good service, and they absolutely are. And that's why I chose to work in a food pantry in the first place. Is you're just you're helping people that are really in need, and that kind of push is what can make people so successful. That little small thing. And I mean, food's a pretty big thing, but to be so positive and energetic about that is very helpful to them, and it also familiarizes them that it's okay to accept help every so often. It's something that I definitely struggle with, but as a reward of seeing that kind of like you help them out, it goes a long way as well. Just the idea of like you're pushing them to be more successful in their own way, and I love doing that as a person. Overall, that was definitely how that went. And thank you for the interview. This is a great time. Glad I could definitely get to talk.